Welcome to this week's Coffee and Conversation. Coach Melanie and I were discussing we each have talked with some men whose spouses, quite honestly, are not nice people, not good people. Would that be
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we've discussed and we teach our men about high regard, how important that is. At what point, though, do you need to realize, you know what, my spouse is a piece of crap? And it's in your best interest, in your kids' best interest,
Yes.
for you to divorce them. I mean, you know, we try to help men save their marriages, but in reality, we help men save themselves. They've kind of gotten lost along the way. And we see this come up on both sides of the spectrum. The bad wife, the bad husband, and one spouse trying too much or wanting too much to save something that anyone objectively looking at it would go, why would you be with this person?
I think a lot of people get stuck in this pattern of begging for love.
That's never going to end well.
No, it's not. It's honestly really sad, because when you think about it, love that you have to beg for, is that worth it?
It's supposed to be unconditional love if you truly love somebody. Now, unconditional love does not mean you tolerate misbehavior.
Right.
But what it means is you're not begging for it. It's being given from abundance.
Given freely.
Yes. And I think right there is something, if you've been with an abusive partner, and I'm talking controlling, verbally, whatever, not physically abusive, because that's like a no-go.
No, that emotional abuse can actually sometimes be worse than physical abuse.
I think men and women get so conditioned that they've been treated that way for so long, they no longer can honestly see the unhealthiness of the relationship, and they believe the lies from the controlling or negative spouse.
Absolutely.
Is how I kind of look at that. Because this isn't a bad wife deal or a bad husband deal.
Right.
It's a bad spouse situation.
Yeah.
And I think too many people in this situation fail to realize they need to pull the plug.
Well, yeah. I mean, they've been beaten down for so long, maybe, that they don't think they're going to be able to do any better.
We see that a lot, and I know a lot of women, it's, you're never going to find anyone else.
Yeah.
You're not,
Maybe the spouse has actually said that, maybe they haven't, but the belief is there.
Yes, and I think the one common thread with a lot of this is people don't have a great relationship with and love themselves.
Yeah. And that could be because of the relationship. That could be because of something from,
their childhood.
Back.
Yeah.
I know firsthand, in my marriage, I had resolved at one point in my life that I would never beg for love again, because I begged for love from my dad. And my sister would walk in the room and I ceased to exist. And I just kind of went, you know what? I'm not doing that. I shouldn't have to beg. And that was in the back of my mind my entire marriage, until one day, 20-some years into the marriage, I realized, oh my God, I'm doing it. I'm still doing it.
You had your aha.
I'm begging for love the same way I did way back then. And that was my aha to leave, because I wasn't being given love. I had to beg for it, and I had to earn it.
And you were done at that point, whether it took a while to, weren't you? Yeah. You should never have to beg for love. But you're right. We tell ourselves stories. We don't even realize how deep the muck we're in is.
Yeah.
And like I tell guys, I said, my first connecting calls, I always say, you're here to save your marriage. I said, I don't care about your marriage.
Yeah.
The dirty secret is I'm here to help you save yourself. You may save your marriage if it's worth saving. And so you've got to at least be willing to admit sometimes that you've done all you can do, and you do this work on yourself and realize, I deserve better. My kids deserve better.
And I want to say something there too.
Please do.
As far as the kids deserving better, I hear people all the time telling me, but I don't want my kids to come from a split home, right? And that is almost, well, it's just as unfair to the kids to keep them in a situation where their parents are unhappy. They see how, I don't care if you
They see and
they
feel.
don't, they see it. They know how unhappy and miserable the couple is. They know.
Well, I've got multiple clients and people I've talked to here in this past week where the kids have actually told daddy they're sorry how badly mommy treats them.
Yeah.
These are 6-year-olds, 10-year-olds
Yeah.
that see this and know it's not right.
My son was one of those. And it started when he was about 8 years old that he's like, this isn't right. And he was 18 when I, pulled the plug. And I asked him later, I said, do you think it would have been better for you? And this was a purely thought exercise because he was studying psychology at the time. And so we were talking about some interesting topics. And I said, do you feel like it would have been better if I'd left sooner? Or were you glad to have had the intact home for as long as you did? And he goes, my God, I wish you'd left sooner.
We hear
You
things
would've
like
been
that
happier.
from kids a lot.
Dad
more.
would have been happier. I would have been happier.
And for the record, while I'm not disparaging him, he was a lousy spouse. You two actually are better as friends.
Absolutely.
And as a divorced couple, you have a very amicable. I've seen it up close, the relationship, since I'm dating you.
Yeah.
And I've even told you, I think it's awesome that you two can interact the way that you do. He's actually kinder to you now that you're divorced.
Yeah.
Based on some things. So I think that's pretty cool. So guys and ladies, if you're watching this, respect and love yourself enough to talk to somebody to see, am I crazy? Is it really that bad or not that bad? Work with somebody, get yourself into a good place so you can make a solid decision that's best for you. Again, I told somebody today, I'm not advocating divorce. I'm not advocating marriage. I'm advocating you do what is best for you.
Take care of you.
Yeah. And it's okay if that answer does mean I need a divorce. I want a divorce. Or you get divorced. There's no shame in that. I think there's more shame and harm done in staying in a relationship that you know you should be out of.
Yeah.
And that you may think you're helping the kids by having an intact home when in fact you're probably harming them. You're modeling bad behavior.
Oh, absolutely. And the research shows that kids from broken homes have no worse outcomes than...
I always tell the men, again, I work with men, if you are 100% present 50% of the time, your kids will be fine as long as they have one loving parent, especially if it's a dad. Now, it's ideal if they have two loving parents in two different households. But I think the research shows how harmful it is not to have a father in the kid's life.
Yeah.
And so that's why and obviously
and you're
I'm
a men's
biased towards
coach.
men. I'm a men's
Right.
coach, so I'm a little slanted towards the guys.
Yeah.
And I occasionally will catch flack in conversations about this perspective, but I explained to them, I said, you're right about, when they're running the men down. I said, with that bottom 25%, they're like that.
That's true, yeah.
I said, I don't deal with the bottom 25%. I deal with the top 5 or 10%. I said, these are great men. I said, so my perspective is a little skewed because of who I work with. So love yourself and your kids enough to make a hard decision if you need to. All right. Love you guys. Have a great week, and we'll talk to you soon. Please hit the subscribe button right down here below, and you'll be notified when other videos come out. And if you're hurting and you need to have a conversation with somebody, Send me a private message. There's no charge. We'll talk. See if there's anything we can do to help you out in your situation. Catch you later.